Hey, everybody, this is Hurdy Burke with the Hurdy Burke Internet Broadcast Network, and we are broadcasting live from the state of the art studio in Round Rock, Texas. I'm with Ray Malkiewicz, Round Rock Nissan, and we're going to talk about the Leaf 100% electric car tonight, which I'm stoked because
It's great.
I can't wait. But before we get him on here, for those of you listening in for the first time and watching this on YouTube, or you will be coming in later, like most people do, listening through your cell phone or on archive or on a website or on a group page or on my RSS feed, we appreciate you guys always coming back and listening. But I want to thank my exclusive sponsor, CPR Cell Phone Repair, right here in La Frontera, Round Rock, Texas. Ray, you ever dropped the phone and broke a screen?
Not once.
Not
Actually,
once. But
my
you know
wife
what?
did.
That's
My
one of
wife
the
did. Now
yeah,
that I think
your
about
wife
it,
did, and
I haven't though.
batteries die. People do all kick them around, leave them on top of cars. I'm telling you, these guys stay busy. But if you've got a cracked screen, or if your phone's not working right, if your battery's died, if it's overheating, if you've left it in the sun, if it's cold, if it's got water damage, if you got an iPad or your iPhone, you've got a Samsung pad, they can fix those. So go check out CPR Cell Phone Repair, Round Rock, Texas at La Frontera. Their website is cellphone repair.com, and go check them out. Cool. Hey, and Ray's so busy that right after this show tonight, he's actually going to go do a demo. You're doing a demo of this car or another
Not
car?
doing a demo. Somebody bought another fuel-efficient car.
Okay.
They purchased a 2015 Nissan Sentra.
Awesome.
We worked with them last
Great
night up
car.
until about 9 o'clock.
I really want to get into this Leaf Nissan car tonight, which is absolutely awesome. And you gave me some great questions. And Ray, when I was reading these questions, I got to thinking about the first one. Well, let's just talk about it. So, is a Nissan? Is this a hybrid or not?
No,
Is there any kind of hybrid to it?
It's not a hybrid. That's a very common question, very confusing for most people. A hybrid has both an engine and a motor.
Right.
The car I'm driving, I basically have driven a little more than 7,000 miles with no engine. That's what distinguishes that it's not a hybrid. There's no gasoline, there's no oil, there's no dipstick, there's no transmission, there's not a timing belt or a chain, there's no spark plugs, there's not a starter, there's no muffler.
There's four wheels.
There's not a catalytic converter, there's no tailpipe, there's no emissions, there's no radiator. There's no support of
There's
foreign
very few
oil.
parts that could break, is what we're saying.
Well, you still
I'm
have some,
I'm
but
just kidding.
the main thing though is there's no gasoline costs.
Right.
So in a hybrid, people buy a hybrid because they want to be fuel efficient. Well, what they don't understand is it's great and it's going to work for them, but now they're supporting two technologies. It actually complements, and if they don't use their gas quickly, they're going to have to flush it every 3 months anyway. Why are you, buying gas just to throw it away?
Yeah. So that leads me to this. How is the batteries sit in it? Obviously, they're positioned in the car for balance and everything. You got four wheels. So what drives the spin down to the axles? Is it just
sure? So we've got two different power sources. We got DC, direct current, and AC, alternating current.
Okay.
Unlike a car, which has an engine, this has an electric motor. The current comes from the battery under DC, goes to the inverter.
Mm-hmm.
The inverter then goes to the charger. The charger is what spins the wheels, and that's where we get our electric power, converting it over to AC, alternating current.
And so what's it like to be in a car that has no typical feeling of a gas motor car? Like when you're driving it, the quietness, the ability for it not to have the engine noise. It's got to be a weird feeling.
Well, it's actually quite
refreshing. Still, and you're kind of.
It's quite refreshing. It's almost zen-like. Once I hit 70 miles, 70 miles an hour, I purposely turn off my Bose stereo system
just to be quiet,
just to listen to the.
And that's all.
And that's all I hear is the wind.
Right. And you don't hear anything.
No, and it's interesting, though, now that I get into an ICE car, ICE is an acronym for internal combustion engine.
Right. Gotcha.
It's our nickname for ICE. But when I get into an ICE car, to me, they now seem loud because I've been conditioned since age 16 to hear this noise in the background. And now that I've been almost 6 months without the noise,
right,
any ICE car that I get in sounds loud to me.
Yeah,
even a luxury BMW
just
or Mercedes.
feeling different kinds of road vibrations as opposed to having an engine in a car.
I heard about somebody who was driving a Tesla, fantastic car.
Oh yeah,
5 times as expensive as ours.
Yep.
But they said the reverse. They're saying, oh yeah, well when we had to take back as if the Tesla was the standard and somebody was starting a gasoline engine for the very first time,
right?
And they're asking their salesman, well, what's that vibration? What's that loud noise? I mean, is that going to go away? And in an electric car, truly 100% electric car, it's so silent. It really is silent.
There's just nothing.
We could simulate it if we have a 5-second pause here, just for 1, 2, 3. That's how quiet it is.
That's
really,
awesome.
Maybe a tad bit noisier.
Well, yeah, you got a little bit of road noise. You got tires, so you got a little bit of that.
It's that quiet.
Now, the question's not on there, but since we're talking about the Lease Nissan 100%, energy-driven car that's not gas motored at all, it's not a hybrid. What kind of styles do they come in? Is it a sedan? Is it shaped like a small car, 4-seater? How is it?
Herdy, it's a 5-passenger car.
Okay, got it.
It's a coupe or hatchback.
That's awesome. People love those.
Yeah, it's very, very fuel efficient. It weighs just between 2,800 and 3,300 pounds.
So pretty standard weight on the car itself. That's about normal for those hatchbacks, isn't it, in that class?
Yep, and what's really nice about the car, the way the batteries are configured, they're in cells that go underneath the length of the vehicle, which gives it a lower powertrain and better stability and handling. You don't have a giant motor or engine up front, which sets the balance off center. So like the Toyota MR2, some of the fancier mid-engine cars were all the way in the center
in the back. Right, yeah.
So we've also got small sport fins underneath the car to help direct the airflow. And one of the people, when they look at the front of the vehicle for the first time, they'll notice the LED headlights. They split the wind away from the mirror, so that goes around the mirror. The mirror is wind resistant, so we're trying to make this so fuel efficient. The coefficient of drag is just barely above a 3, which is similar to our Nissan 3.370 and the Nissan Altima.
Yep.
It's a little bit higher than that. But
so they tried to style the body on it similar to what they've already got in production that
absolutely
does really well.
You mentioned production. Some people think that this is new technology. It's actually not. 5 years here in America. We were actually driving electric cars back in the 1800s. They were one of the most popular vehicles in the 1900s. Almost 28% of our population was driving electric cars in the 1900s.
But I want gas, man. I want an engine. I want a Roadrunner.
That's
with
politics.
A brum, brum. Yeah, I know.
One of the things that I've noticed, and I noticed it by accident, it was always frustrating to me, but when I would fill up traditional gasoline cars, or if I'm filling up my wife's car, I'm really sensitive about my hands. I don't want to have gasoline spilt on my hands.
Yeah, because they stink and it's hard to get
for hours. I can't wash that off.
No, you can't.
Now, in my first couple of months, I started noticing when I scratch, I don't have that gas smell.
You don't have it on your shoes?
I haven't. Yeah, I haven't. And I ended up losing a little bit of weight too. I lost almost. Well, because normally when I would stop for gas, I'd spend my $35 to fill up the tank. That was in my economy car.
Go in and get your donut.
I would. I'd get a donut. I'd get some ding dongs. I'd get a Mountain Dew.
Right.
I'd get
you get because the convenience store. That's the whole point.
$35 for that. An extra $5 in junk food. 800 calories later. Now, not only am I saving money by not paying for gas, not supporting foreign oil, I'm losing weight because I'm not eating.
No, I get it. I'm
with you a year and a half ago.
I'm with you, man. You're right. When you stop, you want something to munch on.
Yep.
Okay. So when you go through the list of things it doesn't have, it's hard to imagine when you mention the word car that you start visualizing how it looks underneath when you don't have valves and pistons going up and down and that ballet dance. You don't have the dipsticks for the oil because you don't have to worry about changing the oil. You don't have filters. You don't have that dipstick in the transmission.
The dip driver either.
You don't really have the dip driver. You don't have anything that revolves around that. Now, I do imagine you have some things like power steering that are on the side of this, right? Or you get basic things that go with the technology.
Still use electric
it's just not
steering.
engine driven is what I'm saying. You got to have some fluids for some hydraulics like ABS and stuff like that. But that's it.
And what's interesting though is
all right there. You just could check them all right there lined up. There's one. There's two.
Because there's no transmission, you don't feel the gear shift first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So you have 100% torque at zero.
From zero, and that's
from
what
zero.
I was going to add. Because there's the transmission's designed to shift the car through its power curve to get up to its horsepower, right?
Right.
And,
we hit the horsepower to hit the RPM.
So
we have none.
You have none. So you're getting a zero torque at standstill, and then it's just boom. You're just going, and everything's right up to speed, depending how fast you want to go.
In layman's terms, we pretty much have two gears: forward
and back
and reverse,
and that's it.
That's it. There, and it's either
so there's no wear and tear on the stop-start of the vehicle.
No, actually, you actually save on the braking.
Right.
One of the features of the Nissan Leaf is what we call the regenerative braking, and a lot of the hybrid cars also use the same type of technology. Right. The kinetic energy that has traditionally been lost by the wheels spinning, we capture that kinetic energy just like the hybrids, and we actually put it back into the battery. So every time you touch that brake, you're actually starting to charge the battery, and as you coast to a stop, we use kind of like an engine brake.
Right.
They call it a gear reduction.
Yeah, it's like if you were to be in a gas-powered automobile on a manual, you can do it in automatic too. I wouldn't recommend it. It's when you go from, say, fifth, then you shift back to fourth, back to third, you're downshifting, and you're slowing the car down by using what they call engine braking.
Correct.
You've probably seen signs around Round Rock that says don't engine brake. That's probably not for the cars. That's probably for those big gravel trucks. It makes a lot of noise.
Yeah, absolutely. But for the same purpose, once you get used to driving the vehicle, often you'll just coast into the stoplight, coast into the stop sign, which makes you a safer driver. You keep your distance from the people in front of you. Your insurance rates go down because you're a safer driver.
Right.
You're a better risk for everybody, and you're saving the environment.
Right. And so I imagine this is a great car for you charge it up and you run around town. The mileage used to be absolutely terrible on these vehicles when the technology was first being launched. How's the Leaf?
Well, the Leaf is about 3 times the national average. The national driver does just under 30 miles, 29 miles a day. The Chevy Volt was one of our first competition. That used to be about 37 miles. It's now up to 50.
Okay.
From day one, we were at 80 miles. Our range now is typically from 80 all the way up to 114.
That's pretty awesome. And with the charging stations being people having shared charge, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. It's not like you're out of whack. You can find charging stations pretty readily.
We're one of
now.
the 6th most friendliest EV, electric vehicle states in the United States. Austin Energy alone has implanted more than 100 charging stations in all the Austin zip codes. When I'm in an Austin zip code, I'm literally 2 to 3 minutes, at the most 5 miles away from any charging station.
Now, do they have an app or anything? Like, let's say I want to take it to Dallas. I know I'm not going to get there because it's 180 miles, right? Do they have a map or an app that shows you where the local charging stations are on the way? So you
several of them.
One of
the most popular ones is called ChargePoint. Okay. It's a networked application. If you have the Leaf SV or SL with navigation,
you get all that.
It's built into car wings, and you hit a button and it says "Find me a charging station." And it talks to you and tells you where to go.
That's awesome.
It's really pretty cool.
I mean, that's pretty cool. So it's not like the old days where you had to make sure you were topped off, and then you couldn't go too far, right? Because these things weren't built out.
But the navigation will also do points of interest through Google. So if I want to look for a restaurant, if I want to look for a movie theater, I can ask it to do that as well. But to get to Dallas, normally that might be a 3-hour drive.
Right.
In a Leaf, you can still make it because it's going to be about an 80 to 100 mile range.
Right.
Most of the time, people in a 3-hour drive are going to stop for lunch anyway.
You might as well charge it up.
That's exactly it. You're going to top it off. You're going to find an EV-friendly restaurant or someplace near a 240 charger. You're just going to top it off while you're eating. When you get back in the car, you're going to be back up to 70.
And the cool thing is that takes the rush out of the trip. So, it's part of it's just cool because then you can relax and let the car do its thing.
And it will make the trip a little bit longer, but you'll get there.
All right. If people want this bad enough, they won't care.
Yeah, and generally it's a second car or it's a daily commute.
That's what I'm saying. I would see it. I'm just was throwing that out there.
Mhm.
I'm seeing this just to show people that there's these charging stations on the way. But I would think most people would use it in their running around daily in their local area.
My
It
wife
just
from
makes
Round
total
Rock
sense.
runs downtown Austin. She works right off
And
of
back.
11th Street. Yeah, 25 miles one direction, 50 miles round trip.
Perfect, right in the curve.
She gets home without a charge, without bumping it at lunch. She gets home, she's got 40% of the battery left, so she can still run out in town.
Yeah, she could
basically
still go out
when
and
she
run the
gets
grocery
home.
store and errands and come back. And I imagine just like a gas tank needle, there's probably an electrical lets you know full or empty,
Absolutely.
right? Or
Yeah.
charged or
Basically,
not
just
charged.
as miles to go.
Right. That's even cooler. I like that.
Well, if you want to talk cool, all right.
Yeah.
This thing has a video game aspect to it. It's called Planting Your Own Virtual Forest.
All right.
So there's a little meter in the top left-hand corner that shows how efficient you are at driving and conserving energy.
So it's like the Econo buttons they have on
every
some of
time
those,
that you
gas
do well, you earn a branch, and
Right.
after you get enough branches, you virtually plant a small tree. The goal is to try to create a forest. The maximum you can plant is 4 virtual trees. Took me about 5 months to figure out how to plant that many trees.
Wow. So it's giving you
It's a game. It's a game.
Giving you some education about the best practices to drive the
Oh
car.
yeah, this is stuff my dad
Because on the
told me.
gasoline engines, on that now it's called Econo, right?
Sure,
ECO, and it stays green.
And we have an Econo mode too.
If you're following the protocol, right, for the car.
Mhm.
All right. So my next question for you is, speed-wise, generally, people should not be surprised. Electric cars are actually very quick because of the zero torque. They go from 0 to whatever very fast.
Yeah, 0 to 50 in average 8.9 seconds.
That's awesome. You know,
which is considerably more than many of the 4-cylinder cars out there. Dare say a handful.
And you don't have to worry about cracking something or breaking something when you push it. You know,
not at all.
Because it just goes. It's ready to go.
Mhm.
Right. So top end speed generally.
It's rated at 90 miles an hour, but
Okay.
I've had mine up to 94.
Wow.
With downhill and a little bit of wind at my back. I actually saw 95 on the toll road. I don't want to tell the highway patrol because I was a little bit over the limit, but
y'all hear that? Yay!
I think it would have been experimental.
All right. Okay. So that's pretty good. Meaning that you can keep up the flow of traffic. It's not like you're you're not like you're going down the road and your little electric car, you know, and you don't look like you're the same person, right?
Right.
So it's all good. All right. So where do I charge?
Most people charge at
and
home.
You call them EV drivers. What does EV mean?
EV, electrical vehicle.
Okay, that I just wanted to make sure people knew what that
EV
was.
is electrical vehicle. There's another acronym I use sometimes, EVSE, Electric Vehicle Supply Equipment. Most people get them confused. They see the charging station. They call that a charger. The charger is actually in the car.
You're just
plugging
into it.
That's all you're doing. It's like plugging in a cell phone.
So 120 volt socket, normal home socket, like
very
in the garage,
convenient.
just plug it in?
Absolutely. Comes with the purchase of the car. It's a 24-foot cable.
Right.
Very convenient. That's an overnight charge. We call that a trickle charge or a level 1.
Right, which is what you said on here, and it comes with the car, right?
Comes with the purchase of the car,
right,
yeah.
That's cool. And I saw it this morning. It looks like it's got a nice where it's aerodynamic right on front of the car. Kind of lifts up like a little diamond V, and you just do that plastic and plug it in, right?
And what's really nice is if you're at an area where maybe for whatever reason you weren't comfortable about the security of the neighborhood,
right? You
can actually plug a thing that will lock the connector into the car so somebody can't pull it and walk off with your cable.
That's cool.
Now, when we go to the level 2 charges, which is what you're going to see at most of the Walgreens, Kohl's, over at ACC Community College, that's going to give you what we call a standard charge.
All right.
So now the level 1 is overnight, let's say 19 to 21 hours.
Right.
The standard charge is only 2 to maybe 6 hours.
So the top off is what you're really talking about. If you're going to park in garage or not, you just want the slow trickle to charge up because it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
But if you need to top it off, you can go with the instant boom boom.
Correct.
2 hours. So there's your lunch, there's your dinner, there's somewhere nice. And
my favorite is going over to Stone Hill. I watch a movie.
Yeah.
I get all done.
Be done with it.
And there's some really nice chargers over at Stone Hill. Plus, there's so much other shopping out there.
And that's all changing too. But y'all have a thing called you were telling me about the other day where you actually can share it with somebody. What's that called?
So that's an application called PlugShare.
Okay.
So now I went and purchased about 5 months after I had my car a
Right.
level 2 charger. You can get the inexpensive one on Amazon for under $400.
Right.
I spent a little bit more for mine, but I have a 24-foot cable inside my garage, and I have 10 feet of that cable hanging outside the garage. And now I've networked that on the internet. So if somebody was up in the 78681
Right.
zip code and they needed a level 2 charge, they could search on the internet on PlugShare and they'd see my house, Dave's house, a handful of other people
Cool.
like us that have offered our electricity. And we do that because we might get stranded as well. It's going to cost me, what, 3 cents?
Yeah.
To help somebody out. I mean, why wouldn't I do that?
Yeah.
So they'll just plug into my front yard.
And that just builds the kind of coolness factor, because you also are bringing in the element of meeting new people and you know what I'm saying, talk about the cars. And since you're in that business, that's got to be a big help.
Well, and in my situation,
you can talk about people, about
sure,
what's going on.
I've already met, on PlugShare, I met a gentleman up in Georgetown. I just wanted to pretend like I was a real customer, which I am, but he has a Tesla charger. So I called him up and says, hey, I'm driving a Leaf. Can I come by and we see if we can hook it up? He says, I don't know if it'll hook up. And no, it would not hook up.
Okay.
Now, he could hook up to mine, but I couldn't hook up to his.
Okay. So
but I got to meet the doctor, and,
That's
he was
awesome.
fascinated about the car.
I'm sure.
Of course, he's driving electric as well. He's got the $100,000 one. It's awesome.
I'm sure they're cool.
120,000 miles he put on in 1 year. He goes to Houston a lot.
Yeah, but there's nowhere, you know what I'm saying? There's not the
he's
wear
not
and tear
spending
on
any money on gas.
That's what but there's no engine wear and tear. There's no, you're not, it's not the same wear and tear you're talking about.
Once you start driving electric, you'll never go back to gas. It's just flat out. You'll never go back to gas.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
All right. So the most important thing, tell me about you've got the numbers on this, and I think this is just crazily important. These cars used to be extremely expensive, even the base models, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying they're still not a little expensive, but compared to what, right? You're not paying gas, all that. So can you get into what the price of this car is?
Absolutely.
Tell us that?
After rebates and incentives, you can purchase an S model Leaf for $21,510, and this is the net value after federal tax savings. Now, you'll also get an income tax savings from $0 up to $7,500.
That's awesome.
Then you'll get a state alternative fuel vehicle of $2,500, and then possibly 50% off if you wanted to purchase a level 2 chargers. There's even more unique things. There's something called the TERP program.
Right.
That's the Texas Emissions Reduction Plan. I qualified for that. That's just a grant. That one for me is going to be $1,885.
Now, is that grant because you're actually driving a full 100% electric car and helping the economy, or helping?
Both, because instead of purchasing mine, I put mine on a lease. So as a lease, buy for the $7,500
because the lease,
I'm not the owner.
you're not taking because you're not backing that off the MSRP.
Now, Nissan gave it to me in the in the form of a discount on the car,
right?
But I didn't see it directly to me as a tax write-off. Nissan did,
right?
But they passed that savings on to me,
right? Gotcha.
So
gotcha.
TERP, they're going to give me $1,885. That's almost 6 months worth of my first car payments.
Yep.
So pretty much I drove the car for the first 6 months virtually
for no payment,
for no
money out of pocket.
Well, I put a little money out of pocket, but it's coming right back.
Right. And you're leasing it, so that means in 3 years, or what'd you go, 24, 36
I went with a
months?
3-year.
Okay, so in 36 months, you just hand them back the keys. They had a residual value, obviously, set for what the vehicle they believe will be worth. Right?
If I want to purchase it,
you just get another one.
That was
right?
my idea.
That's you walk away and grab another one. That's the beauty of the lease, right?
And we're finding out in our 5-year history, 200,000 vehicles sold. 80% of our Leaf owners get a second Leaf. 80%.
Well, and the beauty of a lease is, you know this, is they'll come back to where they did the lease, right?
Absolutely.
So you get the first shot at whatever they do.
And what's really neat about a lease, a lot of people don't know this or they don't understand it. During the first year or two of a traditional brand new car purchase, if you're unfortunate and you get into an accident, the vehicle is usually depreciated more.
If you're trading a car and you got negative equity and you're buying a new one, and Ray's kind enough to put you in one, I'm very sure their finance people will talk about gap insurance. And
Well,
if you
and
don't
with a
want to
lease-
spend an extra $7 a month on your payment, you're out of your mind.
And
right?
With a lease, gap insurance is automatic.
That's automatic. I understand that,
Yeah.
but on a purchase, I'm saying you want to have that gap insurance because you don't want to pay anything out of pocket and be upside down. That's just the easiest one to sell in the world.
Oh, yeah.
$7 a month or whatever it is, but dealerships offer that.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing is most people probably need to buy that gap insurance through their dealership when they buy the car, because you don't see that being offered by so many insurance companies anymore as a
And the
third
gap
party
insurance,
sale.
just to be clear, it's not the insurance that they sell at the Gap pants store. That's a different Gap.
No, yeah, that your insurance pays off, the Gap pays the difference, and you walk away and get another car.
Yep.
Thank God you don't have to run negative equity back into a new loan, right?
And earlier when I was talking about the $21,000, we called it a basic car. It's really not a basic car at all. The base Model S,
that's what I was
is
going to
actually
ask you.
equipped. It's quite well.
That's the next question.
It's got a tilt wheel, power windows. It's got a heated seat, heated steering wheel,
That's
both
cool.
front and back.
Now that got what?
Heated steering wheel and then heated seats front. No, it's really cool. Like in November, December,
right?
I would use the app on my phone. I knew I was going to leave the house at 7 o'clock, so I told my turn on the car at 6:55 and start heating it up. So I was heating
both things, and the fact that heated seats I thought of, but when I saw this in your question, heated steering wheel.
Heated steering
That's the
wheel.
thing. We're always going like that.
Oh yeah,
with the glow. So that's cool.
So it also comes with an AM/FM radio, CD, and this is probably my favorite: Bluetooth, hands-free communication.
Yeah, so you got MP3 and iPod connections too.
Yep, and so you can actually answer your phones hands-free. You'll stay in compliance.
Are they ever going to put Wi-Fi in these cars, do you think? Is that down the road?
Some of the guys are doing Wi-Fi right now. We're not supporting it yet.
Well,
anybody that has a cell phone already has Wi-Fi in their car anyway.
I agree. I agree.
It.
And it's got to be secure. Yeah. I'm sure that there's issues around that too.
Oh, I forgot to mention. Sorry about that.
No,
it does come with anti-lock brakes.
Yep, and front and side air curtains. So you got the same safety features you have in the other automobile: the side curtains, front curtain. Oh, I'm just kidding.
I understand exactly what you mean.
There's a lot of people, Ray, that still don't understand ABS.
Mm-hmm.
I done a few test drives with some people over the time in some pretty high-end cars that were ABS, and I told the people, when you push down on ABS and you have to stop quickly, it goes all the way to the floor and it doesn't feel like it's working, right? It's going to you'll feel popping, pulsating.
It's like a vibration.
It's a vibration, and it forces people who think that that's something wrong to let off, and unfortunately, then you have to start all over.
You want to do just the opposite.
You just want to hold that thing to the floor and just let it pop and creak, because that noise is the computer just keeping the wheels from locking up. It's
typical ABS is about 20 times a second. It pumps and releases a brake. Because the brake's faster than we could do human. Another thing, while we're on deployment, about 20 years ago.
Wow.
My wife is legally blind without her glasses. This was in the snow when she had the accident. And just like she's seen all the movies where the cars blow up from all the gasoline spill, she was fearful because she smelt this sulfur. And she didn't know that the airbag deployment is a small explosive charge
in the
to
center
fill
of
the airbag. It's just a little tiny cartridge.
It just booms.
So she's panicking, trying to get out of this car, trying to find her glasses in the snow. When, had she known about the sulfur,
she could have just sat there and let
let the emergency come. I'm okay. Let me check my,
Good.
And she's fine. But
so we got a couple more questions.
Sure.
Ray, we are connected to the wall on a socket. I unplugged it. We got a lightning storm getting ready to happen outside, so we're going to hustle so we don't get fried through the deal here.
Okay.
So let's do this. We've been on 34 minutes. That's great. 1900s, there's nothing new. The technology, obviously, we have today has really improved these cars. So I know you're awesome to work with. I've heard nothing about good things. I think you've even sold a nice 300ZX to one of our.
It wasn't a 300. It was an Ultima.
The
3.5.
Great. By the way, great vehicle. I will tell you, I love Nissans. I had the staple 1996 Nissan Maxima with that V6 that you see them on the road. They still run like a bullet. They're a great car.
So you brought up the Maxima. We're on our 40th year.
Yep.
We're going to be introducing the 2016 in just a few months. I'm actually starting a full training on it on the 13th of this month. But if anybody goes and signs online to register, this is not a purchase, just to register for a 2016 Maxima.
Right.
If they purchase the car before year's end, I'd have to double check the dates, but they're going to get complimentary 3 years. What do they call it? Complimentary oil changes,
kind of the maintenance,
service. Yeah,
basic maintenance program.
All the basic service for 3 years just by registering.
Because that stays within the warranty, and that makes total sense, right? Now, is there any kind of type of warranty on the Leaf?
Absolutely.
Is it like
it's a standard
normal
3 year,
standard
36,000, except for the batteries.
Right.
The batteries we're going to warranty up to 7 years. And at 7 years, we're going to say that you're not going to lose more than 10 or 20%.
So your basic things like your maintenance and your whatever part of that it is going to not be under warranty, but I'm sure.
Well, your basic maintenance. Let me slow you down with what that is.
Yeah.
So twice a year, you're going to have to come and spend a whopping $21.95 to rotate the tires.
Yeah, I was going to say there can't be a whole.
Check your batteries. We're going to do that at no charge.
And that's it.
So no charge inspection on the battery on year 1 and year 2.
That's awesome.
Basically, you rotate your tires. For us, I think our retail rate is $21.95.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So if somebody wants to come in, sit down with you, they've heard this show, we're going to give you an archive of this. There's going to be people listening to it on demand down the road. What's the best way for them to contact you so they can come in and meet with you here in Round Rock?
A couple different ways. My cell phone, 512-569-7398.
Okay, and I'm going to post that on the player for folks.
They can go to a website that I'm just developing. It's not complete yet.
Okay.
TexasLeaf.com.
And that's yours, right? Yes. Okay.
TexasLeaf.com or .net.
When will that be?
It's up now.
What is it again? And I'll make a note that it's under construction, but there's enough there, right?
There's enough there that people, when I say it's under construction, I'm going out and I'm photographing any place that I charge at, because there's many network things out there and tell you.
Yeah, you want to
have
some
there.
Information on your site.
They don't tell you what's there once you get there. Can I, how far is it to go walk and get a sandwich? Can I go see a movie? So that's the stuff that I'm doing. And I discovered on myself, and I thought it was fantastic. If you haven't seen the Pflugerville solar sale, it's over by Community Impact, just off of I-35 and 4. So this is how do I call it? A carport that is using sun power to charge your electric car.
That's
so awesome. If you charge at the Pflugerville Community Impact magazine, everybody reads it, of course.
Right.
You're technically running your car on sun power.
Cool. All right, guys, we are under attack by a thunderstorm coming through. Ray, we covered a lot.
Okay, good.
And good stuff. I mean, people that didn't know anything about electric cars are getting a good education tonight. And so what does Leaf mean?
That's the last thing I'll tell you.
Yeah, what is the definition? Where did you get the name Leaf?
So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a backronym, and it stands for Leading Environmentally Friendly, Affordable Family Car.
There you go. Couldn't have said any better. Wow, genius, right? If you think about it. So the Leaf, 100% electric car, Nissan. Ray is right up here at Round Rock Nissan, man. Great guy. Great to deal with. You'll like him, friendly, fun, and he loves to educate people. That is something that is good about you. You love to educate, and you like this stuff.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean,
if you're an enthusiast for cars and himself, you will love. He brought a car to a network group this morning. If I had an appointment, I wanted to go drive that car. So I'm going to come drive that car. I just want to see what it feels like.
I'm there every day except for Wednesday and Sunday, but personal training, so I'm not on scheduled Wednesday, but I'm typically there anyway.
I was going to say, that business, you got customers, you have to work on their time, and you have a day off, but kind of you end up doing something there.
Sure.
All right, so guys, you've been listening to Hurdy Burke Internet Broadcast Network. Ray gave us his phone number and website. We will be posting all that information on your custom player. They'll be able to see your number and link to you.
Can I put an email address?
You can put an email address, and if you want, do you want to use your personal one that you gave me?
The email address, and you'll see this on my personalized plates in about a week. The number 4,
right?
NOGAS @gmail.com.
Right.
And so the number 4 nogas @gmail.com.
Cool. And a link. You're going to have a link to your new website. You're going to have your email. You're going to have your phone number. I'm going to
Awesome.
custom color it to the colors of your website when I go visit it.
Well, of course, environmental, green, blue,
Right.
energy.
And CPR, our sponsor, CPR cell phone here in Round Rock, will have a little banner on there to
I
link
think
to
I
them.
got a cell phone I can have them fix for me.
Well, hey, they would love that. You know what?
The Galaxy
We all got
we
one.
could use a
I've
backup.
got one up here, and I got one in my bag that I'm getting ready to switch from the 3 to the 4. I've got to go get the chip in it. But anyway, Ray, thank you.
Oh, sure.
This
No
is
problem.
awesome. What'd you think?
I liked it.
It's kind of cool. I mean, we're
Yeah.
live. You know, we're broadcasting out the world through YouTube tonight, and it's on archiving. If I don't know if you remember the days of technology, I'm sure you do.
I do.
All this used to be manual. You know, you had to have somebody at the server flipping over to get the audio then you had to hope it didn't crash on you. Then you had to have somebody archiving it on a server behind you. Then you had to go find the file. Then you had. We'll be back this Thursday night on another show we just started called A New Way to Think. We'll have Scott Carley on, professional coach. It's about business growth, personal growth, and leadership. We crank that off Thursday night at the same time, same channel. So if you're listening in tonight, you'll see it live on YouTube. You guys have a great evening. We'll see you around the corner. I'm sorry we're going a little bit quicker tonight, but there's some actual lightning and thunder, and we're plugged into the wall, and we're on earphones. So we're going to say good night.